were all introduced to Stroud at different times. For some of us, it was during his 2021 freshman season at Ohio State, where he finished top 4 in Heisman voting. For some, it was when he became the second overall pick in the NFL draft this past April. And for others, it was during this NFL season, where he is currently the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year as we enter Week 7. Regardless of when you were first made aware of CJ Stroud, there's no denying that these past few years have certainly been on the highlight reel of his life. But what a lot of fans don't know is his behind the scenes were filled with countless tragic, heartbreaking, and straight up dark moments that your typical professional athlete didn't have to go through. In this video, we're going to tell the entire story of CJ Stroud, the setbacks he had to overcome in his personal life, and how he moved past them to eventually become an NFL star. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight to it. On October 3rd, 2001, Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV, who later decided to go by the nickname of CJ, was born in Rancho Cucamonga, California, where he was the youngest of 4 kids. Though it's still unclear to this day where the J in CJ comes from, one thing that was clear early on was that he loved football. At the age of just 5 years old, his father Coleridge introduced him to the game, and from then on, he was hooked. Stroud's dad played a very interesting role in CJ's life story. Prior to his marriage with CJ's mom Kimberly, he had some run-ins with the law. From 1989 to 1992, he was arrested 3 different times and was convicted of felony drug possession, receiving stolen property, unlawful taking of a vehicle, and armed robbery, in which he served a sentence of 10 years in prison. But when he got out, he turned his life around, at least for the time being. He met CJ's mom, got married, and became a pastor at the Life Application Christian Center in Rancho Cucamonga. As a result, CJ's upbringing was deeply rooted in the church, and the religious values instilled in him at a young age were something that he kept with him throughout his entire life. On the field, CJ would light up his local football leagues. Willie Munford, Stroud's youth football coach, claimed that CJ was throwing 50-yard passes at the age of just 9 years old, and opposing coaches even complained to the league that Munford was cheating because they didn't believe Stroud was the same age as the other kids. He was CJ's coach for about 5 years. During this time, Coleridge would attend every single game. He cared so much about his son's development as a player that he would even argue with the coach during games. Munford grew accustomed to butting heads with Mr. Stroud, but he respected the fact that he wanted the best for his son, until one day he disappeared. This caught CJ's coach by surprise since Coleridge never missed a game. So he asked the 13-year-old CJ why his father wasn't there. In an interview, Munford said, quote, "CJ told me he didn't want to talk about it. I was going to leave that one alone. He played well that year, but he was different. You could tell. He was quiet. He wasn't playing as well as he was supposed to. He still had the arm, but he went quiet." The reason why CJ's father wasn't there that day was because of an incident that took place on April 12, 2015. An incident that changed the Stroud family's lives forever, because on this night, Coleridge forced his way into a woman's vehicle when she was at a stoplight. He instructed her to drive to a house so he could buy drugs, he assaulted her, and then used the vehicle to evade the San Diego Harbor police. The car chase ended with Coleridge crashing into a pole. He got out of the vehicle and started running on foot, where he jumped into the San Diego Bay. Needless to say, he was arrested, and was later sentenced to 38 years in prison for charges that included carjacking and kidnapping.